everybody. This is the Leadership with Heart podcast, and this is Heather Younger, your host. Employee experience is powered by emotions. Managers and or leaders within organizations get to choose which emotions they unleash from within the people they lead. Leaders, meaning supervisors or above in an organization, drive much of the positive or negative emotions by their actions or inactions, their words, or what they fail to say. When a manager chooses their words and their actions carefully, they exhibit great emotional intelligence. These managers often are thought of as leaders who care, or, as I like to call them, leaders with heart. This special brand of leader drives engagement and loyalty simply by being themselves. Are these leaders perfect? Absolutely not. It is in their awareness and sharing of some of those imperfections that we realize their brilliance. In this podcast, I ask you to see yourself in the stories my guests tell about times when they are not the best versions of themselves, but how they use their hearts to guide them to a place of deeper connection with their teams and heighten leadership prowess. Today, guess what? I am delivering a message directly to you. I won't have a guest. It's short and sweet and very potent. Enjoy. Hi, everyone. Today I decided to take a break from interviewing a guest and just talk to you directly. One of the things that's really come to my attention recently in a big way is this idea of identity. As leaders, there are often times when we see ourselves one way. There's a gap between how people perceive us and then how we actually present ourselves in the world. And then also there's this thing and focus about who we want to be and how we want to be perceived. So just recently I've been speaking a lot to different audiences. And one of the things that really stands out is oftentimes as leaders or influencers inside of our organizations, we are perceived one way, and usually it's not the way we want to be perceived. And that's usually based upon our actions and how we present ourselves out there in the world to others. Just recently I spoke with a team, and we were talking about the organization's perception of them, their perception of themselves, and the gap that exists there. It was critical for them because they were looking at how they could rebrand their department as it relates to the organization's perception. After we spent quite a bit of time talking about the gaps that might exist and what they do well and what they don't do so well, it all boiled down to this. How well are they communicating to themselves? How well are they communicating between one another? That was critical. Here's why. They didn't have a strong personal identity in line with what they wanted to be perceived as or who they wanted to be perceived as. Their identity was kind of wrapped up into the perception of others of them. So here's what I find, and I found this as well speaking to another group a month or so ago. We all get tied up to a large extent into how others perceive us as customers, perceive us as employees, perceive us as members of the community, our family. But if we do that, we really do everyone a disservice because most of the gap that exists starts with our gaps in our mindset. The mindset that we either are not good enough, that we are missing the mark. We might have guilt around things we haven't done or things we have done, and it weighs us down. I think about my own childhood and the racism that was inside my own family, the addiction that was inside my own family, and how I had to sit by and watch as adults struggled with their own identity and how people perceived them and how often they would miss the mark as it relates to what they wanted to be perceived as and who they wanted to be. And so when I think of that, and I think of even just my journey of going through my life, often feeling like I was never good enough and always being driven by that concept. Not being driven by the concept that I am a being that was made by God and I'm exactly as I should be. And I'm not weak. I'm not a bad person, but I am on the path I'm supposed to be on, and I'm supposed to make the mistakes that I have, and I'm supposed to learn the exact same lessons I've learned. So the one message that I have for you today, and this is a short one, but it's pretty potent, is to be thinking about how you perceive yourself, how others perceive you, how you want to be perceived, and determine if there are gaps. Aside from that, think about how you have been walking your journey. Have you been putting more stock in how people perceive you and how you should be? Or more stock in what it is you were born to be? And what it is you were driven to be? What it is you were put on this earth to be? That's what's most important. So if you found value in this very short, potent message from me, please do like it on iTunes. Please do share it with others. Because there's value in this message. It's critical that we understand our identities. We can't be something to others if we aren't us to ourselves. Have a great one, and thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to the Leadership with Heart podcast. You can grab the show notes by visiting customerfanatics.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter.